Hello, friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. All right, I got a little bit of an update on my father. As you know, a couple days ago I told you he was back in the hospital, but I only had preliminary information. I've heard a little bit more now, both talking to my mother, and I actually spent a good deal of time on the phone last night hearing from my father, kind of hearing his version of what happened. Now, a lot of times when I talk to you about things, I'm talking about things that I kind of know about. I've had to do a little bit of research on this, and so you got to bear with me. I got a cue card here to help me understand and help me remember all the little details and all the terminology and kind of how everything pieces together. So that's why you're going to see me keep referring to this periodically. Basically, the problem is my father has diminished liver capacity. He's got a condition called cirrhosis of the liver. And basically that means that the liver isn't working as well as it should be. Basically, the liver's job is to cleanse the blood. It's a filter for the blood to remove toxins from the bloodstream. And one of these toxins is called ammonia. And when ammonia starts building up in the bloodstream due to liver problems, eventually gets to the point where it begins diminishing mental capacity. That's a process that they call hepatic encephalopathy. And it can be triggered by a number of things, including changes in electrolytes level. And apparently, for a while, my father has been on medication to control his sodium, and sodium is one of the electrolytes that is very, very critical. So sometimes when the sodium level gets too low, that kind of triggers this hepatic encephalopathy because the liver is allowing too much ammonia to get through it and isn't filtering it out properly. And apparently, according to my father, this resulted in 2 blackouts in the past week or so. One of them, which was really brief when he was driving his car, which is really scary. Apparently, he was pulling into the driveway and he blacked out briefly and hit something with the car. He doesn't know exactly what it was, or at least he didn't tell me what that was, but when he kind of regained consciousness and became aware of things again, he found he had the car parked on the front lawn. So he's already made the decision himself that he's going to at least temporarily suspend his driver's license until we get this under control. Obviously, you wouldn't want him blacking out behind the wheel when he was on the freeway. Fortunately, he was going very slowly and didn't hurt anyone, so this could have been a lot worse. And then a couple days later, a day or two later, I guess, he had another blackout that went for about 4 hours, and that one was really scary. That was the one that kind of triggered this whole thing. I told you a couple days ago that my father kind of walked away from my mom and stumbled briefly, and my mom heard that and asked him, "Hey, are you all right?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm okay." And then a few minutes later, he stumbled again, and my mom asked him again, "Hey, are you all right?" And at that point, he was kind of babbling and incoherent and just didn't sound like he was all there, and said something like, "Yeah, I'm all right." And my mom says, "Are you sure? Would you like me to call 911 and get some help?" And he said, No, I think I'm fine." Just kind of really kind of out of it, incoherent. My father says he doesn't remember any of that conversation. The last thing he remembers is losing his balance, and he remembers hitting something, and he remembers that he heard the noise from that. And the next thing he knew, he woke up 4 hours later, he was in the hospital. Had no idea how he'd gotten there, what had happened, didn't remember the ambulance ride or any of that. So he was in the hospital for a while. He ended up going to a hospital that he doesn't really like that well. He's got a family doctor that's kind of been treating him for a while on this kind of stuff. And when they took him to the hospital, he thought he was going to one hospital. My mom thought he was going to one hospital. He ended up going to another one. And I guess these hospitals are a little bit closed off. They don't let doctors in from outside of that hospital come in. So his own family doctor wasn't allowed to come in. And that created some problems because, the new doctor didn't really seem to have the expertise necessary. I guess the guy that was seeing him was more of a general practitioner rather than a specialist. And so while my dad's actual doctor, his specialist, sent his medical records over, we kind of got the impression that that doctor wasn't even referring to him to those records and wasn't willing to talk to the my dad's specialist and all that. In fact, got to the point where my dad just really kind of hated the guy. He told me last night he came up with a nickname. He called him Dr. Liar. And obviously that's not a good thing. Well, what we ended up doing, my dad, with the help of my mom, found a couple of nurses that were, a little bit more helpful, and they recommended another doctor in the hospital to help and get things straightened out. And that doctor came in, and my dad and mom really liked him, but ultimately they wanted to get him transferred over to a place where his own doctor could deal with him. So my understanding is my father was transferred over. Actually, one of the problems they had with him at the first hospital is that the first hospital kept trying to discharge him. And, even my dad knew that that wasn't a good idea. He wasn't ready to be out on his own. And so he wanted to be transferred over to a rehab center that my mom had spent some time in recently when she had her knee replaced. She had a few complications with that, and she spent a little time in there, and she liked the doctors over there, and it turned out that the doctor that my dad's specialist, was able to go visit that place because that was within their kind of, circle of hospitals that they all can work in. The only complaint they had, my mom ever had, was she didn't like the food there. But you know what? That's low priority when it comes to dealing with the health issues. So my father was transferred over to this new place. They're starting to get his blood chemistry a little bit back in order. I think what they want to do tomorrow, Monday, they want to send him in for an MRI of his liver. And then on Thursday, there's another meeting going to be taking place where they're going to kind of figure out what's going on and figure out where we go from there. I think he is getting better, but we have a lot of work ahead of us at this point. Right now, it's kind of been suggested maybe, from some of my viewers that maybe I need to go home and visit my father. But at this point, the only reason for anyone to be there is to help my mom, because my mom's still in a wheelchair from her knee surgery, and she just needs like simple help, like doing the laundry and going and get food going to get food for meals and stuff like that, going to the grocery store, running errands, that kind of thing. And since my sister lives in the California area, she's actually down taking care of that now. So I'm kind of keeping tabs on the thing. I'm going to let you guys know what's going on. But at this point, it seems like my father is improving. Let's see, have I forgotten anything? Yeah, no, I think we got through all of that. Like I said, they were trying to lower the sodium. The sodium, they think, caused the liver problems. The liver problems caused the high ammonia level. The ammonia level caused the hepatic encephalopathy, which ended up causing the blackouts, which resulted in him getting into the hospital. And now we're back over to this rehab center where my father is, and I do think he's going to do better. He just needs a little time. One of the things that was a little bit scary is that he's lost a significant amount of weight. My father, for the last 20 years or so, has had a little bit of a weight problem. And ever since he had his issue with prostate cancer about 6 months ago, which was treated and dealt with, he's been losing a little bit of weight, especially in the last couple months. They say he's lost about 50 pounds. And they're actually getting a little concerned right now because they'd like to actually boost his weight up a little bit. So they're working on that, and I think that's a big issue right now. I think maybe when they get the diet a little bit more under control, that he'll be a little bit more healthy, and that'll help bring the electrolytes back up, and hopefully they're hoping to get the liver to be functioning a little bit better, which should control everything else, and hopefully correct that. Right now they got him on fluids, which are helping to boost his energy a little bit, kind of balance the electrolytes a little bit. But that is really kind of what's going on right now. I wanted to kind of share that with you so you know what's going on. He says he watches these videos almost every day. He's fallen a little bit behind in the last couple of days, but I know that he does watch the videos. So I would ask that you keep him in your thoughts and prayers for the next few days, and I will definitely keep you in the loop on what's going on. And thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.